There was once a young man named Ethan. Like many of us, Ethan dreamed of success, a better job, a stronger body, a peaceful mind. He watched motivational videos every morning, read self-help quotes, and promised himself, "This time I'll change." But each time the fire burned bright for a few days, and then faded. He would skip one day at the gym, miss a prayer, or lose focus on his goals. Soon, he'd feel defeated, wondering, why can't I stay consistent? Maybe I'm just not made for this. One afternoon, feeling frustrated and lost, Ethan took a walk by the edge of town. There, he noticed an old carpenter working quietly on a small wooden house. The man's movements were slow, steady, almost peaceful. Curious, Ethan asked, "Sir, don't you ever get tired of doing the same thing every day? How do you keep going like this?" The old man smiled without stopping his work. "Son," he said gently, "the secret to life isn't motivation, it's consistency." Ethan frowned. "But don't you need motivation to stay consistent?" The old carpenter looked up, his eyes soft but firm. "Motivation is like a spark," he said. "It gets the fire started. But consistency, that's what keeps it burning through the cold nights." Ethan stood silent. The man continued, "I've built houses for 40 years. Every nail I've hammered, every plank I've measured. It wasn't because I felt inspired every day. It's because I made a promise to do good work, even on the days I didn't feel like it." The carpenter paused and pointed to the wooden beams above them. "See that roof? It stands not because I built it quickly, but because I built it daily, piece by piece. That's how life works too." Ethan sat down on a pile of wood, thinking. The man's words struck deep. Then the carpenter added something that Ethan would never forget. Even God works in consistency. The sun rises every day, the stars follow their path every night. The seasons change without fail. God's message is written in His rhythm. He's teaching us. Power lives in repetition, in steady faith. Ethan asked softly, "But what if I keep failing?" The old man chuckled. "Failure doesn't break you. Quitting does. God never asked you to be perfect, son. He asked you to be faithful. When He gives you advice, don't ignore it, even if it feels small. Do it daily. That's where miracles begin." Those words echoed in Ethan's heart. That night he went home and made a different kind of promise. Not a big, dramatic one, but a quiet one. He decided to wake up early every day no matter how he felt. To pray, even when he didn't have the right words. To work, even when he didn't see results. At first, nothing seemed to change, but over time his mornings grew brighter, his mind clearer, his faith stronger. He learned that motivation comes and goes, but discipline builds character. And when you stay consistent, even when you don't see the reward, God notices. One evening months later, Ethan returned to visit the carpenter. The old man was still there, hammering wood, same steady rhythm. Ethan smiled. "You were right," Ethan said. "I stopped chasing motivation. I started building consistency." The carpenter looked up, smiling. "And what have you learned?" Ethan replied, "That every small act done faithfully becomes a bridge between who I am and who God wants me to be." The old man nodded. "Exactly. Never ignore God's advice, son. Sometimes His voice is quiet because He wants you to listen closely. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about obedience. When you keep showing up even when no one sees, He's watching, and He'll bless your faithfulness." Ethan left with tears in his eyes and peace in his heart. From that day on, he stopped waiting for perfect moments. He understood that success isn't built on excitement. It's built on repetition, faith, and trust. He still failed sometimes, but every time he fell, he got back up. Not because of motivation, but because of discipline and faith. And slowly, his life changed. His dreams no longer felt distant. They became real, one consistent day at a time. Narrator's closing words. So, if you're watching this right now, wondering why motivation keeps fading, remember Ethan's story. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire. And consistency, guided by faith, is what keeps it alive. Never ignore God's advice, even when it seems small. Because sometimes that small whisper from Him is the start of your biggest transformation. Stay faithful, stay consistent, and let God do the rest.